Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Blind Boys Politics. Nicholas Rod, Chris Baker here with you for your Friday morning news. Chris, why don't you kick us off with today and this weekend's weather?
In Los Angeles, California, it is currently partly cloudy and 71 with a nice sunny weekend. Houston, Texas, sunny and 68 with another sunny weekend. Chicago, Illinois, sunny, 41 with a sunny weekend. And New York City, cloudy, 41, partly cloudy weekend.
Hey, Chris, are you happy it's Friday?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
felt like a very fast week.
See, I both want to agree with you. And I have this weird thing where, on one hand, days feel like they actually. I'm saying it out loud now, but no, this week has flown by. It's not like last week where it flew but felt like forever at the same time, which happens to me a lot. No, you're right, this week has flown by. Anyway, enough of my rambling.
Yeah, it's been a good week. And I feel like I'm finally falling into a schedule with a dog. I think that's what a lot of it is. Because I had a schedule pre-dog.
Right.
And you can't tell me that's not a thing, because it's certainly a thing when you have a puppy. There's a puppy schedule, and then there's your old life.
Oh, sure.
So
Absolutely.
I had to adjust. I think I'm finally adjusted. I'm finally back to like watching the news daily instead of trying to watch a week's worth of news, reading, editing, like all of that in one day. Because that just wasn't working for me.
Right. I mean, with you getting the dog as young as she is, it's kind of like having a kid. You know, I've heard you reference it like that. I've heard a lot of people say that too. When you get a young puppy like that, it's like having another child.
I don't know if you know this, but when people are considering to have a child, someone that might be a little bit older than them and have a young child themselves will say, "Here, take my child for a day. Tell me if you still feel that way at the end of the day." Well, I know someone that's considering a puppy, and that's exactly what I told them. And it's funny how quickly they backed out of that. Now, don't get me wrong. I love her to death. But 13 weeks for a puppy, I feel like at any age of like our lives, that's like almost a lot. Like especially if you're going to work, then if you're retired, like I don't know. I feel like maybe 13 weeks is. They say 6 to 10 weeks should be take home time, but I mean, maybe 24 weeks would have been better.
I mean, you know, when they're that young, a lot of the time, especially with the breed you got, you know, with the Australian cattle dog, they just have so much energy. You know, and you have to train them.
She entertains herself pretty well. I do have to give her credit with that. She will entertain herself pretty well, keep out of trouble for the most part. She'll nap right next to you, so you don't have to worry about her. The problem is potty training.
Yeah, that too.
We cannot get this dog potty trained. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, I know one day last week, I can't remember the day at this point because my mind is gone. You were saying that you thought you had her on a schedule. You thought, you know, you had her potty trained. Apparently not.
No.
No.
Not at all.
Wishful
Last
thinking.
week it was maybe one accident in the house a day, which 12 weeks old, that's pretty good in my eyes. Now it's this week, we're lucky if we get one potty outside a day.
Oh, geez.
Like it's taking a full 360. And from what I've read, it's because as she's getting older, she's more curious, she's more adventurous outside. So her curiosity overrides the having to go to the bathroom, then comes into her familiar place and goes to the bathroom. Well, That's not ideal.
No, definitely not.
So we have to figure that out. I will give her credit because she is a pretty quick learner with everything besides potty training. Calm, she has that down pat. She's got fetch come down perfectly. Drop it is a little shaky. No, she understands not to bite your head off. So I'm proud of her. She for 13 weeks, she's kind of coming together into a not destroying your house terror. She's
Mm-hmm.
more of a cute terror.
Yeah, I mean, from the sounds of it, it's it's your typical work in progress. There's still things to do on that front, but
So Nick, if you ever want to babysit, you have my number.
yeah, I'll get back to you.
She's really cute and loving.
I mean, I love dog. I love animals. We know
She'll love
this.
right up on you.
Yeah, just
She's fallen asleep on me several times.
maybe we'll wait until she is potty trained and all of that.
No, you gotta experience it, Nick.
I really don't want to.
So, whenever you say to me someday, I want to get a puppy, I can say, remember Annie.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get one that's like a year old, Nick.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will support you in a year-old puppy. Anything less than that, I'm not gonna feel sorry for you.
But it sounds
But
like you've got your hands full, no doubt, but it sounds like you're also surviving at the same time, which is good to hear.
how are you doing? How is, you know, life of Nick?
Did you forget my name for a second?
No, I was just forgetting how I wanted to word it.
Oh,
I wanted to reference something from a Monday episode, but I figured I shouldn't.
gotcha. Um, things are pretty interesting at the moment. You talk about your schedule and all that, being messed with because of the dog. I find myself, I don't have too much of a schedule. The main parts of my schedule are when I wake up in the morning, on weekdays, to get myself kind of up and ready before my classes start in the morning. Well, I've been finding it very much, very difficult to actually get myself up in the morning and, without spending a solid 35 to 40 minutes laying in bed. I just have had a very hard time waking up and getting up and still trying to figure out why, because I'm going to bed at the same times as I was
You know what
when,
it is?
what's that?
It's senioritis.
Possibly. I can see it, yeah. I mean, yeah, it definitely could be senioritis. You know, we're getting close to spring break, which is going to be like a major vital point for me, I feel. My thing is, I don't know, as we're starting to transition in between, the cold weather and the warm weather, I find myself in this weird state of mind where I'm energetic but also kind of in a daze and kind of low energy at times. I'm low energy at times when I need to have it, and then when I don't need it at all, it just will just come come at me randomly and just hit me like a brick wall, and I'll be flying around the room for about an hour.
Well, maybe it's senioritis, or maybe you just need a relaxing weekend. So you take this weekend and relax. But for now, let's talk about some of the news.
Yeah, there's a lot of news to talk about. There's more information surrounding the stimulus that we'll give you here, and then we'll move into some other things later on. But we first start off with a little talk about student loan forgiveness. As we're aware, student loan forgiveness was not included in the stimulus package that was signed, but there are things in the package that college students and people with student debts should pay attention to.
So if you are a college student, Just like the past stimulus, the American Rescue Plan gives $40 billion to colleges and universities. This money is distributed to each institution, and a large portion is for students of emergency financial aid.
On the topic of student loan debt, President Biden signed an executive order over a month ago that puts a moratorium on your student loan debts until September of this year. This also froze interest rates, and this was a forbearance and not forgiveness.
In the past, if the government canceled any portion of your student loan debt, that amount was considered taxable. However, under the American Rescue Plan, if any student loans are forgiven after December of 2020 or becomes forgiven of January 2026, then forgiveness is no longer subject to taxation. And this would eliminate the interest and tax, which could save you thousands of dollars.
Now, on Monday, we mentioned the portal for the stimulus on IRS.gov, the Get My Payment portal. That's been open since Monday, and it is on IRS.gov. And like we said on Monday, this is where you'll be able to go and see the status of your stimulus if you have not received it yet. Just read the form, fill out the information, and go from there.
If you get a message that says the payment status is unavailable, the IRS says that means one of three different things. Haven't processed your payment yet, do not have enough information to issue your payment, or you do not qualify. If it says it needs more information, the IRS says that the bank information that you have on file is incorrect and your payment was returned to the IRS, which in case this does happen, you will be able to provide the IRS your new banking information so they can issue your direct deposit. This could take a couple weeks though.
That's all we have on that. So now we'll talk about a little information regarding unemployment and taking advantage of the $10,200 tax credit that we've mentioned before. So if you want to take advantage of this tax credit, there are some things that you have to do, and there are some things that you have to take note of. And this is for both people who have filed their 2020 taxes already and those who have not. Overall, to qualify for this tax credit, your AGI, your adjusted gross income, needs to be less than $150,000. And if you made more than the tax credit of $10,200, the rest after that amount will be taxable.
Now, if you haven't filed your 2020 taxes, this is for you. The IRS just put out some guidance to take advantage of this. Now, I'm no tax preparer, neither is Nick, but we do have some instructions on how you can take advantage of this. So you go to IRS.gov, next scroll down to forms and instructions, then post relief changes to forms. You will see the new 10,200 unemployment consideration. The rest of the info is right there. You just fill it out.
For those who have already filed your 2020 taxes and paid those taxes on your unemployment benefits, the IRS has essentially said to not file an amendment return, and additional guidance will come in the future.
If you remember Monday, we told you about your tax refund being processed slower than usual. Well, we have a little bit more information. More data has been released, and about 6.7 million have not been processed yet, but nearly 50 million at this point have been processed, and the average refund is $2,900.
We now move away from talking about things like stimulus and taxes and all that, and we will give updates as more information comes out. We do have a bit of an update on how things are progressing after the riot on the Capitol from January 6th. 2 men were arrested from the Capitol attack after video footage was released of them beating up a cop who later died. That officer was Brian Sitnick. They disabled Sitnick with bear spray, and the next day he collapsed and died. There's an autopsy currently underway, and if the 2 men who were arrested are indeed connected to his death, their charges could be risen up to murder charges. Just a note, one of the men arrested owned a sandwich shop and was turned in by a friend.
Now moving over to the border of US and Mexico, there is an increasing number of children crossing the border every day. There are currently 13,000 unaccompanied minors at the border, which is up from 7,500 children last week. There is a surge of border crossing up about 30%. They are using the Dallas Convention Center as an overflow building. Layers for the children say many of them go hungry, shower once every 7 days, and take turns sleeping on the floor. Press Secretary Jen Psaki said their only options are either send back or do what they are doing and keeping them here in safe shelters. And many of the children are being held 72 hours plus, which is over the 72-hour legal limit.
So, as you may have heard of by now, there was a shooting on Tuesday night in Atlanta. The gunman opened fire at 3 different Asian-owned massage parlors. 21-year-old Robert Aaron Long was found 150 miles south of Atlanta. 8 people have died. For more information regarding this situation, check the show notes. There'll be a link to the article that was released yesterday about that shooting.
Moving into some rapid news, I will go first. The filing deadline for your taxes were moved to May 17th instead of the usual April 15th deadline.
2 members of the jury in Derek Chauvin's murder trial have been dismissed.
A Christmas morning bomber in Nashville, Tennessee. He is believed to believe in conspiracy theories and wanted to take his own life. And the FBI believe it was not an attempted terrorist attack. Well, we're done with the news for this Friday morning. Nick, tell me some good news, though. What news can you deliver that's going to send us all into this weekend happy?
We all know that COVID-19 has caused a lot of problems for people. A lot of people have lost their jobs and all of that, but that doesn't mean that they're without their own support. There was a substitute teacher in California who was let go after the school changed to virtual learning. One of the teacher's former students noticed that the teacher was homeless and living out of his own car. He had seen the teacher, multiple times without recognizing him, and then eventually managed to see who it was and started chatting with him and found out that, he didn't have the money to have his own place. All the money he was getting, he was sending to his wife in Mexico. To try to help, pay for treatment for her illness that she had. So the student took to social media, both Twitter and GoFundMe, set up a GoFundMe page for the teacher, and spread the word about the situation. Had an initial goal on GoFundMe for $15,000. Well, they ended up raising $27,000. They almost doubled the goal. And then an entire gathering was set up between the teacher and some of his former students, and it was there that they presented him with the check, to which all he could say was, "Am I dreaming?"
$27,000.
$27,000.
Okay, first of all, I have to unpack this. First of all, it's terrible that this teacher lost his job and then became homeless. And then I'm sure it became more humiliating to him that one of his former students found him homeless, but then to turn around for that student to go to GoFundMe and Twitter and have a goal of $15,000. I mean, $15,000 could change someone's life when they're homeless, but then to almost double that to $27,000, and then just him saying, "Am I dreaming?" I'm sure that's enough. Like thank you. Don't have to even say thank you. Just, "Am I dreaming?" I feel like that is more in words than anything, if that makes sense. Like
the impact of those three words. You're right. The impact of those three words is insane. For those students, I have to imagine that when they heard those words, when they heard him say, "Am I dreaming?" I can almost bet that it was in that moment that it really started to hit them what they just managed to accomplish.
At that moment, they knew what they did.
Yeah.
And the whole community, really.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's a great story. I really like that. I'm just still shocked about $27,000.
Yeah, it's insane. It is like you said though. 15,000 can be enough to change someone's life who's in a situation like that. So to almost double that, oh dear God, there are no words,
Besides, "Am I dreaming?"
Yeah.
Well, Nick, good job finding this good news story. Bravo to you as always. You're always finding the best good news stories. I do have to give you credit for that. You are the king of good news. But until Monday morning for more good news and regular news of what's happened over the weekend, make sure you follow us on all social medias. Make sure you follow us on our Blind Boys Politics Twitter account for the latest 24-hour breaking news, and it's happening in real time. So you are never behind. You already know what's going on. For example, with the Atlanta shooting, we were tweeting that real time of live updates of what was going on. Make sure you follow us on our personal accounts to see puppy pictures from me, see what Nick's up to. But until Monday morning, have a good weekend, everyone.
See you soon.